It was 2011. The dream was a yatra to Kailash, that beautiful and extremely sacred abode of Shiva, just beyond Manasarovar and Rakshas Tal. We had planned this trip for months, but political coercion forced us on another trip, a yatra to Muktinath. Our first stop at Kathmandu was the Pashupatinath temple complex. Before we undertook this long yatra on foot, we decided to take the blessings of Pashupatinath. It is at this place that Adi Shankara left one of the 5 Spatikalingas given to him by Shiva himself over 2500 years ago. The Varalinga resides in this temple just as the Yoga Linga is in Kanchipuram with the Acharyas. It was Somavara and the place was packed. It was the grace of Pashupatinath himself that the bhattars of the temple noticed us in that absolute crowd. After a brief exchange in Kannada, one of them placed 5 Rudraksha malas on the top of Pashupatinath himself and then threw it to us over the heads of the milling crowd. Although there were only 4 of us, we received 5 Rudraksha malas. We didn't know why, but accepted this prasadam and wore it reverently so that it would protect us throughout the arduous journey ahead. It was interesting to see the different kinds of travelers come from far and near to visit this very sacred temple of Shiva. Beggars, monks, ordinary citizens also thronged the place. After darshan, it was time to go to the market. We had a few things to buy for our trip. The market was indeed an interesting place, very touristy, of course. While the older man read, unperturbed by the goings on, the little boy was extremely distracted and full of mischief. Far in the distance from our hotel, you could see the mountains. We would soon be on our way to Besisehar, but on the way, we would stop at Manakamana. Shanty houses and shops line the road that follows the high banks of the Trishuli river. Our guide Govinda explained that this river was very sacred. After the Samudra Mathana yielded the halahala poison and Shiva drank it, apparently he became very thirsty. But none of the water in the various kunds were enough to quench his thirst. So he drove his Trishulam into the ground, and out sprang this river that quenched his burning throat. The road then went up towards the cable car. The queue twisted and turned just like the Trishuli. But what was unusual was that bhaktas were carrying chickens, and some of them even had goats in tow. The waiting area was well landscaped. Finally, after an hour, we were on the cable car and we could see the Trishuli from above. The road hugged the river and winding walking paths zigzagged up and down, some leading to guest houses like this. We were all in a happy mood. Wearing our protective Rudraksha malas, we headed up to the temple, enjoying the views all the way. Manakamana temple is the temple to Devi Parvati. Here, she is the one who bestows upon you whatever your heart desires. It is a temple known for its bali, sacrifice. This is why the goats and the chickens were led into a separate car and locked in for the ride up via cable. The entire temple complex was wooden and exquisitely carved. The angular supports resembled some of the edifices in South Indian Kerala temples and Tirunelveli. Once darshan was over, it was time for a break. We were to lunch along the Trishuli river. We crossed a wide shore of rounded pebbles to reach her waters. She flowed thick and rich, like milk chocolate, over the rocks, looking sweet to the eye. We wound our way down to Besisehar. This was our base camp, the place from which we would walk into the far distance, into the mountains. Thanks for watching this What is India production. Give us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.